Welcome to Grit and Ground. We bring you different types of movement through guest experts from the local scene as they share their insights, their passion, and how they find their balance.
Okay, give me a beat, Ned. We will rock you. Hey GG listeners, it's Car and Joy, and we are back to rock your world. Ned is also here, our sound engineer, making sure we sound so good. Alright, you're listening to Grit and Ground, the #1 music station. I'm just kidding. This is a podcast where we talk about movement, mindfulness, and everything else in between. Sometimes we sing, but today we've got a bit of a rock star as one of our guests. She's been doing master classes, pound tours, and if you've attended her class, it's actually always filled with students dropping beads of sweat, right?
Yes.
It's our time to pound her with questions about her passion and what it takes to be successful in her field. We've got Madz Dinglasan in the house.
Hey, everybody!
We'd like to know, Mads, how you got into pound actually. Like, this is your main movement practice, right?
Yes, I was, before I got into pound, I was in the corporate world for 16 years doing sales and marketing. And I think that life led me to really being a burnt out person, and that jump started my addiction with alcohol. And so as I reached rock bottom in late 2016, I decided that it was a turning point in my life, and I needed to do something which was filled more with purpose. It's actually funny because I was never the kind of person that ever thought of working out. Again, I was very unhealthy, so there were no gyms for me. I think I would even laugh at people that were so enthusiastic to work out all the time. But I think this phase in my life, it was a do or die moment for me. So I started doing community Zumba classes, and sabi ko parang, oh my gosh, the seniors are doing so much better than I am because I'm so out of breath and all these things, and which led me to wanting to just really stop my drinking. And a few months later, I think that inspired me to want to get a group exercise instructor training. Just so that I could sort of inspire other people that were going through the same thing that I was going through. And when I did that, I started teaching dance aerobics. But I would get frustrated because people were comparing it too much to Zumba, which is not what I was teaching. And so that frustrated me so much. And I told my husband, sabi ko, I think I need to go and attend an international fitness convention to see what's new and what's out there, because parang I needed to bring something new. And it was the Asian Fitness Convention in 2017 in Bangkok, where I first heard of pound. As I registered, we had to choose kasi which of the classes we wanted to do. And I saw pound rock out workout. So the word rock out really struck, because I've never seen a fitness class that was with the word rock out. So I went to YouTube, I saw a video, and that was it. I think that day, God opened the door for me and said, this is it. So what I did was I went on and I emailed the Pound headquarters in Los Angeles, and I said, hey guys, I think this is perfect for my personality. I think this is what I want to do. And so they replied in a couple of days and said, you're lucky because we're doing our very first Philippine training. on September of 2017. And my trip to the international convention was October. So it so happened that I was able to take the training even before my trip. And it was funny because I walked in there and I've never attended a pound class.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I just went in there with a heart that wanted change and that wanted inspiration. And I just bit the bullet, and the rest was history. I was teaching my first class a week after.
For those who don't know yet what Pound actually is as a movement, can you let us know what it is and how is it different from other types of movements?
Okay, so Pound is a 45-minute cardio jam session inspired by playing the drums. So what we have are these really cool rip sticks that we use. They are like drumsticks but heavier and thicker. They weigh 1/4 pound each. So with every movement you do, you're actually toning already your upper body. It's an overall workout, so we do a lot of squats. In fact, each class consists of about 500 to 700 squats and lunges. Yeah, but we don't feel it.
Yes,
work.
we do.
Yes, we do. She's,
Not during the
class. I felt it on my arms though when
In
you
your
tried it in
arms,
your
right?
class and beyond, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of squats, there's a lot of lunges. We work out the core a lot. And then of course your arms are constantly moving. And what my goal, or what our goal as instructors are, is to sort of give you a concert-like feeling when you're in class, where you know the songs, you know the music, and you know what, I want to be that drum beat behind the music. And while doing that, I'm actually working out.
Yeah, for the rockistas.
For
out there.
yeah, so yes, so you know, and it's very diverse because the songs that we use, there's a lot of pop songs, there's a lot of rock songs, there's a lot of EDM. So there's really something for everybody to enjoy. And as an instructor, when we create our playlists, we have to keep that in mind, that I can probably have a 72-year-old lady in class and I can have an 18-year-old. So how do I balance where these two will jive and enjoy it?
So you mentioned also about like there's a thought process behind like creating the playlist. Is there also a thought process that you have in creating the sequences, or is it like a set or a structured class already?
Yeah, we actually are, us instructors, we have all the choreography and the music in what we call the archives. It's called the label. And Pound headquarters gives us everything we need. So all the choreography, all the songs, it's all in there. And this is, of course, to assure our students that what we're teaching them is something that is safe. In something so active like Pound, it's very easy to injure yourself if you don't know what you're doing, because it's so rapid. It's full of power, it's full of intensity. And so we are guided already. Pound headquarters has a very beautiful format in making sure that us instructors are aware on how to guide our students. However, there is a sequence that we already have to follow. So you attended the class and you'll see that you start off with your warm-up, and then you have a certain song where we're standing, you have a sitting down. So we follow that, and that ensures each and every student that we don't burn you out too much also. So we're not standing for way too long. There's a sequence where we get to sit down, we get to rest a bit, and then we stand again. So everything is provided to us, and we're not allowed to
Kind of
create our own. So even with the music, all the music has to come from the archives. We can't, we can't use our own songs. So everything is already sort of here. These are the set, these are the intensity levels, these are the techniques, and then we put it together. What we have is choosing from the archives which songs will go in a sequence. So, for example, for a set level 1, which is what we would start with, there's over 100 songs and choreographies to choose from. So now I play DJ, and I have to make sure that those 12 songs in each class jive well. Because I can't have a class where it's all EDM. You can't do 12 songs which is all EDM, and then you walk out of class and your ears are bleeding, right? So it's figuring out the mix of this song goes well with this and it flows well, but everything is given to us.
I see. So, you also mentioned a while ago about like trying to avoid any injuries and all that. So, there's also a difference between good soreness and then bad soreness. Can you share with us being able to identify between the two, like, between good sore and bad sore, and maybe the common injuries that you have encountered during class?
I'm glad you asked that question, because one of the most important things for me as an instructor, and I guess this goes for all Pound instructors, is the orientation that we give before we start the class. In every class, we always give an orientation regardless whether the student is new or not. There are modifications that can be done depending on the level of the student. So I can have a first timer and I have to make sure she knows how to properly squat. If she can't hit the floor, what are the modifications she can take? So we have this kind of orientation to assure them that the goal here is not to hit the floor. The goal here is to have a safe practice and to give them that sense of enjoyment knowing that they're safe. Of course, it's also beyond our control sometimes when students can get a little hard-headed or they get too excited, enthusiastic, or I had one student say, because I'm just very competitive. And we have to remind them that being competitive or enthusiastic is not going to do you any good if you're going to give 45 minutes of your time doing it wrong. I always tell them I'd rather you modify and do it correctly, because even with modifications, there's a lot of movement that's going on. And sometimes, depends on each student. Remember that everybody is a different case. So it can take a new student on the second go, she's good, she got it. And there can be some students that it takes them a month before they hit the floor. But I think what's important as an instructor is to assure them that it's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with doing the modification, with knowing it. Be mindful, because we only have one body. And my rule number one is always listen to your body. Because I cannot tell you how far you're going. I cannot tell you that your back's already hurting, or your knees are hurting, or your ankles are hurting. Only you can do that. And if you know the modifications and that was explained to you properly, then you will have no problem in class. In fact, I have a 72-year-old lady in class, and she's really the cutest lady that comes in, and she doesn't do any of the squats. She just comes in because she loves the rock music. It makes her feel young, and she just likes hitting the sticks together. So she's very classic rock, and I love that about her. And she just likes to hit the sticks and come out of her comfort zone and know that for 45 minutes she can come and shout, and then after the class she goes back and she's a cute old lady again, right?
Transforming.
Exactly.
Okay. So then they come in like sneakers, and what do they need to bring?
Well, I actually prefer teaching it barefoot, only because there's just more stability and balance when you're barefoot. But like I always say, it also depends where I'm teaching, because the floor conditions are different. So if we are doing it in a studio, then take off your shoes. It's nice to lunge, and it's very nice to squat when you've got steady ground. The problem with rubber shoes is a lot of people don't realize that rubber shoes are very specific to a certain type of workout. So when people come in class with running shoes, the problem with running shoes is that the heel is very high. So when you're squatting, it will actually push your knees forward because your heels are, it's like you're semi-tiptoeing, right? Now, in pound, the weight should be on the heels, not on your toes. So if people want to wear shoes, I tell them to come in sneakers. Like your Converse All Stars are actually perfect because they're very flat.
Yeah.
A lot of them use Vans, I guess, because it's very rock
I know, right?
starish
We're
and
matching
cool.
the type of
Yeah.
shoe.
But Vans are very heavy, so that's added weight also. If you want more of a challenge, and I guess you can use that. If they really want to look for rubber shoes, maybe because they're just more comfortable, then I would suggest cross-training shoes or shoes that are with a flatter sole.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. And then you provide those sticks too,
The
right?
sticks, the instructors provide all the sticks. So yeah.
The ripsticks.
The ripsticks.
Ripsticks.
Yes, we call them ripsticks only because we want your arms to get ripped.
Okay.
Ripsticks, right? We don't want it to be bulked up. We don't
Yeah.
want to look like the Hulk, but it's nice to have toned arms.
Cool.
I've heard of some teachers, like they have students that break those
I've-
sticks that happen.
I've like,
competitive students.
oh my gosh. I think
Or is it
over
because
the 3 years that the almost 3 years that I've taught, I've already gone through about 60 sets of broken
60
ripsticks. Yes. In fact, 2 Christmases ago, my husband helped me create a Christmas tree out of my broken ripsticks.
Wow.
And then
So
of
how
course
tall
you
is
get
the
that from headquarters.
We
too,
get it from
right?
You pay for it.
headquarters, and like I always say, it's in the expense of the instructor.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want students to feel like they can't go out there and hit. I mean, the whole point of the class is to release all that aggression, right? So I want you to hit those sticks. I want you to shout. I want you to be noisy and loud
And in
because
fact, that's what you tell them in class to do, right?
I
You're
say
like,
no.
"Just shout."
Come on! I'm the noisiest one, right? So people ask me what I do for a living. I'm like, I shout for a living. Yeah, I tell them there's no quiet people allowed in Pound. You know, I mean. You're not allowed to be loud anywhere. You're not allowed to be loud anywhere else. So when
loud.
you're in class, come on.
I'd like to see Ned in there then.
I know.
Oh my gosh,
Ned.
Ned, you have to come
Ned,
to
you
my
have to
Please
class.
shout
Class.
right now.
Class.
Sample. Shout. Go.
Yeah.
But you know what? Don't be fooled. Sometimes those that are the most quiet are the ones that end up like, wow. I've had students, trust me, that walk into class who are very Maria Clara, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this lady is never gonna come back.
Sa loob ang kulo.
Ay, totoo. I'm not kidding.
No.
I really have students like that. They're the most mahinhin people,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, how am I going to release the beast in this
Release
woman,
the-
right?
Hashtag release the beast.
Release the
Ground
beast
Project for
or
2020.
unleash, right? It's
Unleash the
unleashing.
beast.
And now, imagine I have one girl who's now an instructor.
Wow.
Oh, diba?
Mhm.
I have another girl who's the loudest one in my class. So, you know, you're really...
I guess
you're
it's
really-
refreshing for
yeah,
them
and
to just release.
talagang you can't say that you can tell a student by the time they walk in.
Yeah.
No. Because it transforms them. and I think like they're more confident
Oh, that's
after
true.
that. So
Nice.
Nice, nice. Gritting Ground Project for 2020 is to have Ned attend a Pound class.
Oh
with
my
us.
God, yes.
why don't
Yeah.
you
Tune
come
in.
to my class next
Yeah.
week? It's right here in BF.
Yan. Perfect. we'll do a video of that
Yes.
also.
You
Check it
girls
out.
should come also.
Yeah. So, okay, if you had a rock star to, play the music also during your class, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh, that's really
Wow.
hard because there's just so many great artists. But I think in the start of this year, I'd love to have like AC/DC,
Oh, wow.
Easy.
right? Again, I said there's we're not allowed to really to use our own tracks, but
Yeah.
I do a stretching before the class begins and our cool down also, and I was so parang excited to use Thunderstruck by AC/DC as my stretching song, only because I think it was just so rockish that everybody feels like, wow, all right, right, okay, it's gonna be loud.
Can you sing us a line?
Oh my gosh, I cannot sing AC/DC.
Too high.
Thunder! No.
All right.
Right? No. So I used that as the opening stretch for my master class, and I think it just brought the energy that I wanted people to feel, because in the master class is when I have about 50 to 80 people in one room.
Wow.
And
that's a training?
No, the master class is something that me as a brand ambassador for Pound and a Pound icon can only do. So what it is every quarter I do one where I get all my students from the different areas. Like I have students coming from Makati, come all the way to Alabang to do this, and I think it's the most amazing feeling for them to all meet. You know, I mean, I'm their instructor, but they're all from different venues.
Yeah.
And then they come as one, and it's like, hey, yeah, I saw you in the picture. Yeah, I know you from the picture, or, you know, and then they meet, and it's amazing. They all come with their Mad Squad shirts, their Beastie Girl shirts.
I saw that. How do you build, is that your brand name, like you build
Mad
on your
Squad,
own? Yeah.
yes. Actually,
Mad
that
Squad.
just, it just happened by accident. Well, because my name is Maddie, so it was like put in there
what
somehow.
rhymes with Mad? Squad.
Right? No, so Mad Squad happened because I had a student named Nina who was my client before in the media days, and she joined my class, and you know, she's an artist, she works in an ad agency, and she said, I want to make you a logo. And so I said, okay. And then she came up with this Mad Squad logo, which I thought was just so beautiful. And it was everything that really described me. And then I just started using that as a hashtag. And I just started, people just wanted to be Mad Squad. You know, they like that. Yeah. And so one day I just came out with a shirt, and then they're all like, we want Mad Squad shirts also, right? So that sort of stuck, and
yeah, I've always been curious how people build like communities like that. Like, and now parang it's super dami niya na, right?
Well, I do have 16 classes in a week, so that's a lot of students. I think it really started because I built that community, because I think when you're honest with yourself, then you can be honest with them. And I share my story. I share my story of being an alcoholic and how I got out of that and to where I am now. And I feel that God really gave me or put me in this position to help other women, or men and women, that are going through so much internally and just have no outlet, or they don't know where to go, they don't know who to talk to. And the community was built because there were so many women that could relate with each other in every class. I mean, I don't know why people come into my class, and it just fascinates me how sometimes after class they'll come to me and say, you know what, before I entered your class, I was feeling like this, and I walked out, and now I feel a sense of empowerment. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a community where I can help inspire them and show them that I came from basura. You know, I came from a very dark place in my life. And now here I am leading you guys. And if I can encourage you, I can make you feel a little better. If that 45 minutes a day is going to make you have a better outlook in life, then I've done my job.
Shivers.
So that's it. And that's how the community grew. It was being honest with them and sharing my past and sharing the struggles that I had to go through to get where I am today. And it shows them that I am just as human as everybody else. And you know that it's okay when we're in class, when we're part of this community, we're here for each other no matter what. And it's not about walking into class and being your instructor, and after a class, okay, goodbye, I'm done. No, it's hanging out after class. It's going to the movies on the weekend. the class and beyond, they call themselves the Pound de Sal. It's because,
Hashtag Pound de Sal.
Hashtag Pound de Sal.
Pandesal.
And we even have...
Pandesal.
Oh, do you want me to tell you the story of Pound de Sal? Because that's actually a funny story. So Pound de Sal happened because as we were growing that community, we said, okay, let's have brunch after Pound class, right? Because we do it 4 times a week there. So let's have brunch. O sige, so we'll all bring a little something. So I was so proud pa to bring my freshly baked pandesal that I bought in Pan de Manila. Like,
Sarap
yes,
Pan de Manila.
diba? So after Pound, we'll have our breakfast, and then somebody was in charge of bringing the cream cheese. Somebody was in charge of bringing the coffee. Oh my gosh, until one of the girls came with a huge cooler. And she said, inisip ko kasi baka magutom tayo pag pandesal lang. So, the cooler was filled with fried rice, with spam, with egg, with bacon, with sausage.
Oh, cool.
And then that happened every Friday. So, every Friday, we had like, tapos nagka-sushi platter. Hanggang sa, they would bring a rice cooker in Beyond. So that the adobo, di ba downstairs?
Oh, you're allowed there? Okay.
Yeah, so they brought a rice cooker, and there was adobo boiling in there while we're having class, and we could smell this adobo boiling, and we're like, hurry up, let's get the class done, we wanna eat. And so that happened, and the 2 ladies that are part of that group ended up taking over the restaurant in Beyond.
Oh, that's why.
So because of that, now there's a restaurant in Beyond.
Wow.
And they actually have a breakfast called the Pound de Sal breakfast.
What a trendsetter.
See? So that's the story of our Pound de Sal. So that's how communities are formed, guys.
Love it.
People love to eat. So
yeah, bring food always.
bring food always.
And there's always that one friend that brings everything. And then worried about everyone else.
Worried na, baka kulang ang pandesal.
That's true. Got it. Okay.
So,
Super nice.
yeah.
Okay. A while ago, just going back, you mentioned that you have a jam-packed schedule, right?
Yes.
And then I saw in your feed that you also do Nirvana.
Nirvana,
Yeah.
yes.
So, can you share with us what Nirvana is?
So Nirvana is a workout which is more of mindful breathing. So it's the complete opposite of what I do in Pound, and it's a very targeted market. So we do a lot of breathing patterns, and your movements are more flowy. So it's like a Tai Chi style of
Is it
class.
like yoga?
The thing with yoga is yoga still holds poses, and we're trying to release the stress from the body because our main center for Nirvana is your breathing pattern. The movements are there so that it's not a boring class, because if I told you to breathe for an hour, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? It's boring. So we put in very flowy movements, and each movement has a corresponding inhale and exhale. So the reason I started doing Nirvana was I actually wanted that just for my personal practice, because since I do so much Pound, my biggest challenge is I don't know how to relax. I'm always so hyper, which affects even my sleeping at night, and which is not good because then I have to teach so early the next morning, and it just affects my whole day. And so for a long time, I was looking for something that would just sort of be more on the meditative side. And when I did the Nirvana training just last September, I realized that there were so many health benefits. It's really sad that 80% of the human population is not breathing correctly. And this is what happens when we're all stressed out, is our breathing is very shallow and very fast, and it really affects everything from our mood to chronic diseases in our body. And then you think about why, when I'm having a panic attack, why would you tell me to breathe? Right? That's the first thing. When anything is happening with us, what's the first thing people tell you to do? Breathe. Okay, so why aren't we doing it? It's because nobody is guiding us on this. And so it's a very special class for me. We do that class and you are gonna sleep like a baby. But my market for that are really those that really want internal healing. It's still, again, very new in the Philippines. We have a couple of instructors located in the Quezon City area. And I'm doing it here in the South, but I'll be leaving next week to attend the Global Summit in India in the hopes that I come back with more knowledge and of course more confidence to be able to bring this actually to hospitals, because it's very good for healing cancer patients, for people with diabetes, people with respiratory illnesses. And I think my purpose for Nirvana is now to heal those that need to be healed because they're sick. And this is something that I'd like to do and provide a different purpose for this class.
So this started in India?
No, this is actually a European format. It started in Slovenia, and they really tie up with a lot of medical facilities. In Europe, you notice that everything is really, they have a lot of healing. They have a lot of, they believe in going outdoors and not relying too much on medicines and all these things. And it's really believing that if you change your lifestyle and you learn how to relax and calm down despite any situation, then that really brings a lot of positive changes in us. So it's really bringing awareness, and to breathe is still free, guys. So this is one of the things that we owe to ourselves. When we provide proper oxygenation to our mind and to our body, then I truly believe that a lot of chronic diseases can be really repaired with this.
So for those who might have forgotten or are not really aware of what is the proper way, I'm quoting, proper way of breathing, how would you explain it to them?
Well, what we do, in the class, again, you have to realize that we already breathe very stressfully. I think this has already been a way of life because life just requires that of us. Everything is so fast, and the proper way to breathe is to breathe through your nose and then to exhale through pursed lips. In the class, you start off with a 4-4 breathing pattern, and then it goes into a 4-8 breathing pattern, which means you inhale for 4, exhale for 8. And then the last part is a 4 and 12 breathing pattern. So, parang baliktad. In other formats, you start slow and then you end with a bang. In Nirvana, we're going to start, because you're already stressed, we start with a 4-4, which means the movements are a little faster. And then by the time you get to the 4-12 and you have to learn how to exhale in 12 counts, then that sort of brings your mind in deep relaxation and brings you to a state of nirvana.
Got it.
And how long is the class?
It's an hour long. We have aromatherapy in class. We're all formed in a circle so that our focus is really on the center and not on anybody else. And you just really have to focus on learning how to breathe. So
nice. Yeah,
so you guys should try it sometime, maybe when I get back.
Where do you hold your classes?
I have my classes right now. I have them in Classic Homes here in BF, because it is, again, it's more of a private class. So that's what I'm doing now. We do it usually every Saturday evenings because I think it's a nice time, yes, to sleep, and then you wake up on Sunday and you're refreshed. So yeah. You can check out my Instagram page, and I usually put all my schedules in my page.
Can you share?
Yeah.
My page is Wicked Body Training on Instagram. Yeah, and on Facebook, you'll find me. It's Madz Dinglasan.
Got it.
Right. So
You call yourself Maddie. You open up her Wicked Body
Beast.
Training to Maddie the Beast.
Maddie the Beast.
Dinglasan.
Only because I shout a lot, and I
I shout a lot.
Yes. I try to control that at home. I try to be quiet, I swear, but no.
True. So, okay, for people who want to get into either Pound or Nirvana, what would be the advice that you would give them if they want to enter this type of profession?
For those that I really encourage people to take this kind of road, only because I think now health and wellness is really we've already sort of opened up awareness in taking care of ourselves. I think for a long time it was very difficult to penetrate this market, and now we're very lucky that all these formats are being offered. My suggestion, I think what creates a great instructor is, number one, you've got to have the heart for it. I always say being able to teach and to lead is something very different from attending a class. Attending a class is fun, but when you teach, you're not thinking of yourself anymore. You're thinking of the many people that are walking into your class with different reasons, with different levels of intensity. So you have to really love what you're doing, because I always say in my class for Pound, I have to be 130% so that my students can be 80%. And in order to condition yourself to push 130%, even on days that I feel like I want to cry because I'm having a bad day, or, I'm just not feeling 100%, I have to leave that out of the door. When I go into class, I have to make sure I give them a show. And more than a show, I have to make sure I'm taking care of them, because they're investing their money, and more importantly for me, they're investing their time. And time is not something I can give back to people. So they have to know that when they're in my class, they have that 100%, 130% of me. Do your research. Look at the format. Read about it. Attend classes. Talk to your instructors and ask them what are the pros and cons. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And aside from that, again, it's a commitment, because you're doing this for others and not for yourself. So I love the fact that there are so many instructors now. In fact, over 20 of them had started out my students, and they became instructors, and now I mentor them into being able to teach their own classes. But at the end of the day, I always say technique is something you can learn, but the heart is something that you have to have.
That's super nice.
Right.
That's super nice.
So actually tomorrow there's an instructor training in BGC, and I have 3 of my students that are going to be new instructors. So it's really proud moment for me to see how they walked into class one day and now they're actually pursuing something that they feel is something that they want to give back.
Okay. So last few questions. Do you have any specific readings or resources that you would like advise us to read, or for those people interested in this type of movement or in general?
For Pound, I think the best information you can get is through the website. So you guys can go to poundfit.com. It's a very informative website. So you'll really be able to read and understand what it's about. You'll see the videos there. You'll be able to even find classes. So wherever you are in the world, you just type in the city and it will tell you whose class is happening where. It will also show you the trainings. And of course, the best part is it's got an awesome shop. So you can buy all your Pound merchandise there. And then the same for Nirvana. For Nirvana, it's Nirvana Fitness. And I think these are really the best places to read. There's also a lot of questions you can ask the professionals there. And of course, for those of you that get in touch with me on Instagram and in Facebook, I'm very happy to answer whatever questions you guys have. If you're still unsure about whether you can do a class or not, please come, please approach me so that, we can help answer whatever questions and concerns you may have.
Got it. We'll be sure to check that out. And lastly, we'd like to know, how do you grit, and then how do you ground?
Wow.
Sobrang ganun lagi reaction.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Grit, meaning how I power up.
Yeah.
It's
up to your interpretation.
really, for me, it's loving the people you're doing this with. Like I said, there are days that, trust me, I feel really crappy. But I go into class and remember that, again, these people are here because sometimes it's not even about the workout. I mean, of course, that's a part of it. But I think at the end, they just want to see everybody. And I really drive a lot of my energy and a lot of my inspiration from the different people in my class. When they get to share their stories with me, I have students that will share that they're cancer survivors, or, they were former addicts and now they're doing these things. Then it really gives me a sense of hope that, nobody is exempted from bettering themselves. I also do drink a lot of coffee. Yes, I love my coffee. Vitamins also. I think nutrition is very, very important. I mean, you can work out every day, but if you're going to eat unhealthily, it sort of defeats the purpose. So please provide yourselves with proper nutrition. And then
how do you ground?
Ground meaning calm down. That's my challenge. No, I ground. That's why I'm doing Nirvana, because I think that is one of my biggest challenges. And in fact, when I took my Nirvana training and they asked me why I wanted to do this, it's because I seriously have a problem relaxing. I think I put so much energy in doing pound and having to deal with people that I don't know how to meditate on my own. And so it's very important, guys, to shuffle what you guys do. Don't stick with one workout. I think a perfect kind of format to do after pound would be a yoga class or an anti-gravity class or a meditation class. You have to listen to your body and know what to do. Don't just do pound and do pound forever. I mean, do different things. Go dancing one day. Go jogging another day. Give yourself that freedom to try something new all the time, because it might surprise you.
Yeah. Thus our tagline, move always.
Move always. Exactly. And even for me, I really like it when after pound, then they go to a yoga class and then, do that. Don't stick with one format, because you're gonna get bored. You're gonna get burnt out, So do everything. That's the beautiful thing now, is that there's so many new formats to try. And, each person is different. So what might work for you might not work for someone else. But it doesn't mean you have to already stereotype and say, ayoko niyan cause it sounds hard, or parang it sounds boring. Try it, guys.
Yeah, you'll never know.
You'll never know. And then if it doesn't work out, you know what? At least you tried it.
That's true. That's why we'll see Ned on the pound.
Yes.
Stay
Oh my
tuned
gosh.
for that interesting episode.
Yes. Showcase.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maddie,
Thank
for
you.
your insights. And it's actually super perfect. Like the grit and ground, you have that pound, and then you have Nirvana.
Yes.
So merging and finding the balance. That's it actually for today with our rock star Madz Dinglasan. So again, make sure to check her out at wicked_body_training on IG, and of course tune in for more episodes here on Grit and Ground. And remember, move always in always. Be well, everyone.
All right. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Inspiring.
So, did we rock you with all the goodness? We love having guests who talk wholeheartedly about their journey from dark to light, who emphasize sustainable movement, and who work on building healthy communities. Get your ass to class. And don't hesitate to ask your teacher, and more importantly, show up for yourself. Join us next time for another episode, and until then, keep gritting and grounding, and be well, everyone.